Welcome to the Awesemo Early Bird Podcast. It's your old pal Emac coming to you for the fourth time this week, and then you're going to miss me for a few days, but I am joined on a rare Thursday night doing Friday night slate of games with the one and only Dave Loughran. How are you doing, Mr. Lofty D?
Man, football is underway. I don't count the Hall of Fame game. Football is finally underway. Little preseason action. Got the Eagles playing right now. I couldn't be happier.
It's going to be an interesting one. We did our staff 12-team PPR draft last night. That was a lot of fun.
I thought you had a pretty solid 2 nights ago, but I thought you had a solid draft.
The nights all run together these days. You're trying to get ready for a vacation.
That's all right.
Feels like you never
I
stop.
thought you did pretty well. I like that draft of yours.
I was happy with it. I picked at the turn there, and we had some interesting approaches from some of our key contributors. But I liked how there was just I think a 4-person bench or a 5-person bench, so it's pretty thin. So there's no real stacking of people, stashing of people. So if you wanted 2 quarterbacks or whatever, what have you, you were really going to be thin.
So you know what I did? I just didn't draft a kicker.
Yeah, I did the same thing.
Did you? Yeah. So I figure I'll add an extra guy. If I like what I see leading up to the season, I'll decide who I want to drop after the season, or after the preseason's over.
Yeah, because we have a lot of times. Now, the one thing we did have is I noticed a couple of injury spots, so I'm curious to see how that works out.
Oh, I didn't even notice that.
Yeah, so anyway, it will be fun. Well, the Canadian guy set up the league. That would be Nolan, who's been writing all of the team capsules along. I know you've been helping out, and Ben Raza and Chris Spags. So we got a ton of
we got
content.
The positional previews as well that Spags and I have done: quarterback, running back, tight end, wide receiver, breakouts, busts, and sleepers, and all of the team previews from Nolan and Ben. So yeah, we got a lot, man.
Excellent. So all sorts of good stuff there. It's been real. But let's jump on in here. We of course have a 14-game slate. There's a 3:00 game. It is going to be Chicago. No, not the Cubs. It's actually the White Sox. It will be Oakland at the Chicago White Sox. So that one is going off at 3:00. So we're going to skip that one since most of the sites are as well. But we have a relatively robust slate. We've got some gas cans in search of a match. We've got some intriguing top-end options, and we've got some price considerations here. So, Dave, let's kind of jump in here. We'll focus on DraftKings pricing, but we will circle back with a look at FanDuel and Yahoo as well, because, of course, Yahoo is the presenting sponsor of the Early Bird Podcast. And don't forget to get in that management fee-free contest. And if you have not yet signed up for Yahoo, go to any of the Spotlight Hitters and Stacks articles. Those will be written for free each day. Third paragraph has the link and instructions on how you can get $30 matched with your initial deposit in YSRP's Yahoo Sports Rewards points, which, as Dave likes to say, are just as good as cash.
That's right.
Walker Buehler, Steven Strasburg, the Beebs. We've got several players, Trevor Bauer, Caleb Smith. We've got a quintet in the 5-figure salary level here on DraftKings. So let's look here first at Walker Buehler. He is coming in at the top, 11,500. This is an intriguing matchup for him going against Arizona. It will be in Los Angeles. He has faced them 3 times already this season, allowed 2 home runs, 20 strikeouts in his 18 innings thus far, and he has gone 110, 100, 94, 101, 106, 96, 111, 100, 91, and 102 for his pitch counts in his last 10 games, feeling like we should see 100 pitches, Dave, and we're going to need it to make this price per pitch work. Do you want to earmark that much salary to one Walker Buehler?
It's tough with that price. It really is. But looking at this quintet, as you called them, of pitchers, like, as much as I love Caleb Smith, man, Atlanta really makes for a difficult matchup. Like, they make for a really tough spot. I don't know how to really come to terms with Caleb Smith there. Trevor Bauer going up against the Chicago Cubs. I think you can make sense of this just because he probably should be more expensive. I really like Trevor Bauer. There's no question as a pitcher. The matchup I don't love, but they strike out at a decent clip versus right-handed pitching. And I think you're getting a pretty solid discount there. As much as I like Walker Buehler, you're right. Allocating that much to him is tough. But then in the same breath, the ceiling on this guy has been insane this year. I mean, when Buehler has a good start, he goes off. And it sounds strange to say that for baseball, but it's been the case with him, right? Um, Actually, as a matter of fact, he did it against Arizona earlier this season. He went 8 one-run innings. He gave up a solo shot, only 2 hits with 11 strikeouts. I mean, hell, uh, I don't think it's crazy to go to Buehler, just knowing that, hey, when Buehler has that good game, he's racking up 13 Ks in 8 innings, and it's real tough to get away from that.
Yeah, and he did have, or it is 3.1. Did I read that right? 3.1 implied run total for Arizona. That is one of the lowest we will see in the non-Detroit, non-Miami Marlins division. So that one's interesting. It's going to be 75 there at first pitch. Slight breeze, 4 to 7 miles an hour going out to center in Chavez Ravine there. So really good pitching environment for Buehler. I think he's going to be intriguing. Kind of the next guy on the list and in the pricing sheet on most of the sites is one Steven Strasburg. He took his turn against Arizona and took his lumps, Laffy. That was not a pleasant outing as a Nationals fan. He gave up 9 earned runs, 3 home runs, didn't even make it out of the 5th, 98 pitches. Not good times there, but that was his worst outing by far this season. He was coming off twin 30 fantasy point outings against the Dodgers and Colorado prior to that, and he's just been stellar all around this season. I'm willing to give him another chance here. This will be the 4th time he has faced the Mets this season. He has gone 19 2/3 innings against them, allowed 6 earned runs, no home runs, just 5 walks in those 19 2/3 innings, 22 strikeouts. He's got in the matchup against the Mets a 2.75 ERA, a 1.0 WHIP. Pretty solid. The Mets, though, pesky with their top 3 or 4 guys, but no Robbie Cano. I'm thinking I'm okay with Strasburg for some differentiation here. What say you?
You say you're looking for Strasburg for
For
differentiation?
differentiation, I don't think as many people will go to him. I think they'll try to get to Buehler because of that implied run total and Buehler being at home versus Strasburg on the road and coming off that poor outing.
It could definitely be the case. And if that is the case, I would be all right with that.
And still saying he's probably, the 4th or 5th most popular pitcher under any circumstances anyway, so it's not like
Right,
major
absolutely.
differentiation.
I mean, I don't mind Strasburg here. The Mets are one of those matchups that aren't great, aren't bad. I mean, that's really the way they've been all season. They're not terrible, they're not great. So you don't fall in love with it, but you're not against it either. Um, I don't know if the 500 for me is enough to get me off Buehler. Just again, given his ceiling's been insane this year. And that isn't to say that Strasburg can't have a solid game, but just generally speaking, man, it is a very, very uh, tough decision to make between the two of these guys. And then you have Bieber against Minnesota. Like I played some Clevenger on Thursday. We'll see how that turns out. It's still pretty early for both of us, but the reason I did that is because he was projected at like 3% ownership. And if you're going to project a guy with that high of upside, that high of strikeout rate at basically no ownership, then I'll take a stab, especially if Chris Sale, don't get me wrong, like Chris Sale, especially if Chris Sale, though, is 30% owned against an Angels team that also doesn't have a very high K rate. So as far as Shane Bieber goes, if Shane Bieber ends up being the one with no ownership, he'll probably be the one I look to probably over Strasburg and Buehler in tournaments. Not to say you wouldn't have some of all of them, but Shane Bieber could become very interesting if nobody's targeting him because of Minnesota alone.
And that is an interesting one. Minnesota coming in with a 4.5 implied run total. It'll be 80 degrees there with 40% humidity, so not too bad there in Minnesota. The interesting thing is the Indians are actually favored. They're coming in with a 5.1 implied run total. They're going against Devin Smeltzer, but that's only a 125 on the money line, so not overly exciting. But hey, I would not really have thought the Twins to be underdogs at home, even though it's not by that much. Continuing down, you mentioned Bauer. How are you feeling about? Is his head squared away? Is he won 107 pitches? We're not going to have to worry about that. He's going to get his dollar per pitch or salary per pitch level will be just fine. Tough matchup there against Atlanta. Not an easy one here against Chicago either. He has not yet faced them this season since he was in the AL, just moving over to Cincinnati. Thoughts for Mr. Bauer?
Yeah, I'm still all right with it just because he's one of the higher K rate guys in the league. Um, Atlanta's a tough matchup. The Cubs aren't the easiest matchup either, but I'd rather face the Cubs than face Atlanta for one reason alone, and it's just simply the fact that the K rate here, you're gonna see more opportunity for strikeouts. So um, I like Bauer. It's really, again, the crazy thing about this slate is what is the ownership going to look like? It's very possible that none of these guys up top are that popular. But then you've got Robbie Ray at what 9,800 against the Dodgers. That's going to be tough to get to. Yu Darvish is above 9K. Wade Miley is 9K against Baltimore. And, and Julio Turan, sure, he faces Miami, but he's 8,800. The pricing is really difficult for this slate.
Yeah, the one thing we can say about Ray is that lefties against the Dodgers fare a little bit better than righties. This will be the fourth time he has faced them, but I don't really want to tangle with that Dodgers lineup. They do have a 4.4 implied run total. Continuing down the pricing list, Yu Darvish, never exciting for me. This will be the fourth time he has faced Cincinnati. He's gone 16 innings against them, 3.9 ERA, 1.5 WHIP, 3 home runs allowed, solid 23 strikeouts in those 18 innings, but also 2 walks, which that's been his pain point this season, Lofty, is too many walks, not enough strikeouts. Strikeouts have been on the rise. Walks have, I guess we can say they've been in control. He's had just 2 in his last 6 starts. Strikeouts going 8, 9, 6, 7, 8, 6, 8, 6, 10 over his last 9. That's pretty good, but his prices come up. We've been burned before. How are you feeling about Mr. Darvish?
Yeah, the walks, he's finally getting his command under control. It was a big issue. I mean, a serious issue. It made it so it was difficult to even play him against Cincinnati. So the Reds don't strike out a lot. They don't have power. Weighted on base average is decent enough. More so against lefties than it is against righties. I don't really love Darvish here, but I think I'll tell you what though, Emac. I think ownership is going to play pretty heavily on this slate, and I think it should. Like if Julio Turan ends up being really popular and Darvish goes by the wayside, then you just play Darvish. I mean, seriously, because while Turan has a better matchup and there's no disputing that, he's not as good of a pitcher. He doesn't have the same strikeout stuff, and it would make Darvish a lot more popular. Wade Miley's 9K. Sure, Wade Miley is not a bad pitcher. He's actually been very impressive this year in the back of this Houston rotation. But what type of upside are you getting from him? Like you're not getting 8 strikeouts from Wade Miley. You need him to be pretty close to perfect and to get the win at 9K. So I think ownership plays a big role. We should pay attention to that. And Darvish could end up being a really solid option.
Yeah, excellent point there. It looks like things will probably be dispersed with regards to popularity. Coming on down the DK pricing list, it's going to be a bit before we find any values, but Marcus Stroman going against the Nationals. Not the easiest of matchups for him against the Nationals, but going against a pitcher instead of the designated hitter. With that trade, he has that heavy ground ball lean. You've got Brad Keller going against Detroit. He's gone against them 3 times already, but at 8,000, the point per dollar may or may not be there. He literally does not allow power. I think he's allowed 16 home runs now in his career, basically a 100 ISO to righties and or lefties. So that's an intriguing one going against Detroit, but are there strikeouts for him? Smeltzer against Cleveland? Yeah, not really now that they have Franmil Reyes and Yasiel Puig. Now we're down to Sean Reed Foley and the porn stash. Yeah, he's going against the Yankees. That's not exciting. Brian Johnson, no ACDC, but the other Brian Johnson. He's not a very good pitcher at this point, so I don't want any part of him. Now we're talking Marco Gonzalez against Tampa Bay. He's going for the Mariners. 7,400, doesn't allow a lot of power, doesn't strike out a lot of people. Slight, almost splits neutral for him. What do you want from this jumble, this churn that we have in the middle of the DK pricing list?
Yeah, Brad Keller over the last, almost month is striking batters out at 21%. That's good for him. Like for him, 21% strikeouts.
It's Chris Sale like.
Exactly. Exactly. But that just kind of goes to show you what we're dealing with here. Some of the pitching pricing is really out of control. Um, Stroman's kind of interesting because Washington versus right-handed pitching is far less potent than they are against lefties. Not a ton of strikeouts, and Stroman isn't going to get you a ton, and that's one of the reasons why you look at him and say, all right, well, I don't know if I want to roster him here. You're hoping he gives you 6, 7 strikeouts and goes, 7 scoreless, 7 one-run innings. I got to be honest with you, man. You look from 7K and up. You got Hap against Toronto, Gio Gonzalez, which actually could be Gio could be a reasonable play here against Texas. They are that bad against lefties. I might actually look to Gio here, even though he's not the greatest strikeout pitcher. You might see a really good start from him, so long as he doesn't work a 30-pitch first inning. I can't go to Marco Gonzalez. Chris Archer is another one that I'm willing to consider. And really the biggest reason for that is that St. Louis, they should be better than they are, but they haven't been. So I'll go off of what they have been for now. And versus right-handed pitching, they're striking out pretty high. They've been, bottom of the league or towards the bottom of the league in WOBA, ISO, WRC plus, all three important metrics. Archer, to me, will probably be popular on this slate. I would imagine he is, because Johnson at 76, Jalen Beeks here, Reed Foley against the Yankees, Smeltzer against Cleveland, Keller at 8K, Stroman at 87. It's going to be really hard to get to those guys. I think what we'll see is Archer and Gio Gonzalez actually get some ownership.
Archer.
I know, but I think I really think Archer's going to be pretty popular here.
Yeah, the possibility there does exist. Oh, this will be the fourth time he's gone against St. Louis. I can see getting there. The pricing just not quite there.
Archer's popular whenever he's at that price to begin with.
Yeah, I think the models are trailing too much with not last season, but the season before his strikeouts when they used to be really, really good. Not so much
still,
now.
Hey, to be fair though, he's still well over a strikeout per inning.
It just doesn't feel. How many walks per inning?
I'll tell you right now. So Chris Archer on the season, hold on. Take me a second to pull it up. All I know is I'm assuming his K rate is probably around 26, 27%, which at that price is not that bad. Let's see. His K rate is 26%. His walk rate's 11%, which is, certainly concerning. But again, I mean, would you rather play Archer? Would you rather pay $8,800 for Julio Turan or $9K for Wade Miley? I guess that's the question.
I'm going to have to borrow a phrase from two amazing Philadelphia statesmen. This would be, oh no, no can do. I can't go for that. I can't go for that. No,
I don't even know what that's from.
Hall & Oates.
Is that what it's from?
Yes, I can't go for that. Can't go for that. Come on.
They're from Philly?
They're from Philly. Even I know that. Jeez.
Oh, man. Didn't even know.
There you are. Now, well, yes, there we go. We won't go off on a track, but TSOP, also The Sound of Philadelphia, another band from your neck of the woods. But Hall & Oates, I figured you would know. I would just, I wanted to look that up and confirm it. I thought that's where they were from. They were formed in 1970. That was before I was born.
Right?
They've been around for a while. Oh, good times. All right. Gosh, now we're down into the dregs here. And then, of course, we'll circle back, talk about the other sites as we get you ready on your foundational podcast here, the Early Bird Podcast. If you have not yet signed up for Awesemo, use the promo code EarlyBird, all one word, 50% off any 1-month package. That does now include the Fantasy Cruncher add-on. Please note the Fantasy Cruncher add-on, different than FC Pro. Let's see. Coming down the list, we've got Dylan Bundy against Houston. That doesn't seem like fun. Daniel Hudson against Pittsburgh, somewhat intriguing. 6,400. We know Pittsburgh doesn't strike out, but Hudson strikeouts really aren't part of his game, even though he has gone 7, 5, and 5 in his last 3 starts. It's pretty rare that he cracks 4. Matt Hall for Detroit going against Kansas City. Let's see. He's been down in AAA. Yeah, I'm not really excited about him, but 6,100 worth considering. Jaime Barria Barria going against Boston. Not exciting. Are we going to talk about Tyler Beede? Are we going to talk about Kyle Freeland at the Dregs here? Lofty, 4,800 for Freeland. He is in San Diego going against the Padres, and Beede is hosting your Philadelphia Phillies. God, it's scary down here.
So, oh man, all right. Smiley, first of all, not going there. Tyler Beede, because he's this cheap, it's reasonable. But here's the thing: Jay Bruce just got activated, so that's another lefty. I want to see more righties in the lineup because Tyler Beede against righties is far more potent. At this price point, it's not something that I'm necessarily going to stay away from. But if you have, this is a Phillies lineup that even against righties has ran out a lot of righties, would make it a lot more interesting if Bruce and Dickerson aren't in the lineup. If you put both of them in the lineup, then it starts to get ugly because you have Dickerson, you've got Harper, you've got Bruce. I'll throw Hernandez in there, even though he's not super imposing. There are still plenty of lefties that could make this a difficult life for Tyler Beede on Friday night. Against lefties, he's really struggled. Against righties, 24% strikeouts, 4.4 xFIP. Lefties, 16% strikeouts, 5.7 xFIP. That's ugly. The more lefties in the lineup for Beede, the uglier this matchup gets. So pay close attention to what we get for Philly. Beede could become in play, but right now, I would say no.
I'm actually okay with going to Drew Smiley. The strikeouts are intriguing, I should say. He should get. I'm going to set the over under 5.5 strikeouts for him, Lofty.
Okay.
Where would you land?
I'll give him 5 even.
Okay.
5 over under 5.
All right. So he's got. He should go about 90 pitches. The one thing about the Giants is they can get very right-handed or very left-handed, but Park is going in his favor here. Just don't look at his ERA. I mean, it is really 7 on the season. Yes, that is not a typo. It is 7, and the walks plus hits per innings pitch is 1.64, which means he allows a base runner and a half per inning. That's a lot of guys on base. And the home runs, not really pleasant to look at either. 69 innings, 20 home runs allowed. Who does he think he is? Yusei Kikiche? I don't know. But he is going against a pitcher, and he is in San Francisco, Lofty. I'd rather play him than Freeland or Tyler Beede.
Yeah, I mean, it really depends on the lineup for me. Like, if they're starting Bruce one game and not the other, Dickerson's been dealing with the nagging injury. Like, if you have 6 righties in the lineup for Philly, give me Beede. Otherwise, yeah, I agree. I'd probably take Smiley. I wouldn't feel good about it, but I probably would. And then Cal Quantro, another one who has been, he's seen some serious platoon splits. Not a big surprise. Lefties have crushed him. Righties he's been very good against. So 25% and 25.5% strikeouts versus righties, 16% versus lefties. Matter of fact, 3.16 xFIP against righties. So let's see what the lineup looks like. My assumption, you'll still see plenty of lefties in this Rockies lineup, and it'll get pretty unappealing. But I think lineups are going to be really important for some of these cheaper pitchers tonight.
Yeah, and that's a fair statement. Let's check out the pricing over here on FanDuel, and then we'll round it out with Yahoo just to see what is up. We'll talk about a couple offensive stacks here, and then we will get the people on their way. They should have their commute nearly, because Friday traffic in the morning is always better. It's always worse at night, but should be close to getting to work. And shout out to Giovanni Urshela. Back-to-back nights with 2 home runs. He just hit his second home run, or I guess he did a few minutes ago.
He did it like an hour ago, but I hear you.
Sorry, I lose track of time here.
Hey, that's all right.
All right, at the top, our top grouping here on FanDuel, where we do want the quality start, and the win is nice, but the quality start is pretty much key. Walker Buehler at 11.4, Strasburg at 11, Bieber at 10.7, Bauer at 10.5. Those are similar to the spreads on DraftKings. I think I'm still leaning Buehler here at the top. If I was going down a little lower, it might be Yu Darvish, actually, Lofty, and I don't know if he's going to qualify for the 6 innings for a quality start.
Yeah, you're gonna have to hope that he does because I agree that's probably the one.
Let's see. So he'd be 9,400. Anybody down here in the bargain bin? Because it's really not. I mean, Teheran is 9. Archer, I guess, 77. Let's put.
Again. I think Archer's going to get a lot of ownership because he's
Yeah.
one of the cheapest guys that can actually get strikeouts.
And that's really about it. Everybody else has big old "Do not choose me" signs next to their name, as best I can tell. So Archer, it is. For only $100 less, you could have Drew Smiley. Who allows more home runs on Friday night, Archer or Smiley?
Valid question.
All right, one that we will have to wait and see. Now on to Yahoo. We've got a couple. I like to start down towards the bottom there to see who we have. So Smeltzer is 25 even going against Cleveland. In play, we'll just leave it at that. Brian Johnson at 25 going against the Angels. I'm not really a fan of that. Sean Reed Foley at 26 going against New York. Not really. Tyler Beatty at 27 going against Philly. You could probably talk me into that if I can't find the dollar more to get to Smiley. So we're looking at the same kind of picking the dog with the least amount of fleas, as Mr. Gordon Gekko once said. Cal Quantro 34, Archer 35, Stroman at 35. Talk to me about Stroman at this price point.
No, I think Stroman at that price point is really solid. I have no issues with him at all. Him and Archer. I still prefer Archer, but Stroman is fine there. I wish Beach was throwing more pitches because Beach would be my top guy. Like if Beach was not limited here, man, I feel like this would be a huge, huge, huge opportunity to put up a really big game against the Seattle team that leads the league in strikeout rate versus left-handed pitching.
And has been combined no hit twice this season, Laffy. Twice.
Amazing.
The Angels got him, and then Houston did. So there we are. Looking at Beek's pitch count, I think best case scenario, he gets us to 70. In his last 4, he's gone 59, 73, 78, 44. So he's capable of getting there. They just tend to pull him, usually after 3 to 4 innings tops. So even if we got 4 solid innings against the Mariners at 30, don't know if that's going to quite get us there. But if he were to luck into the win as well, if he was pitching in the 5th and the Tampa Bay has the lead, we could get there, Laffy. We could get there. It's a stretch, though. All right. If you are picking a couple stacks, who is popping out for you this evening?
I mean, there's going to be a lot of teams that are going to have very high totals on this slate because while we have 15 games and a few really solid pitchers, there's a few pitchers that are supremely underwhelming. So, all right, let's just take a look then, because I mean, the way I see it is, all right, let me see if we have totals yet. Let's see. Boston at 6-6 against Berea. Houston at 6-5 against Bundy, who's not even that bad of a pitcher. Is Detweiler on the mound?
Detweiler is in the early game, but that's 6 for the Athletics in the 3 o'clock game.
Oh, that's right. All right, hold on a second. Yeah, so the Yankees, you pretty much just have to play them from now on against Sean Reed Foley. That's kind of how it feels right now. Cleveland against Smelters, another one. You mentioned that they're favorites. They're favored, not because Minnesota isn't good, but because Smelter is bad.
Right.
So, that's another spot where I think you can target them. And, another one that I think will be low owned, San Diego against Freeland. I know he's not in cores, but this is not a good pitcher. He's allowed a lot of power. This could be a very appealing spot here for the San Diego Padres. Against lefties, I like them. Sure, they don't have Franmil Reyes anymore, but they still got a lot of power from the right side of the plate. And one of the big things about this team is you see the pricing come down quite a bit. So you're not over like Renfroe 45. Tatis is a lot, but Machado is very affordable. Most of these guys are very affordable, which makes them a solid stack. And I think on a 14-game slate, you'll probably get good ownership as well.
Yeah, the scary thing about Kyle Freeland is he's another pitcher, 7.24 ERA this season in the show. Through 82 innings, he has allowed 22 home runs. They actually sent him down to the minors. He went down to AAA Albuquerque, which, by the way, is in the PCL. But he did start 6 games, went 29 innings, allowed just 4 home runs, but at the same time, an 8.8 ERA and a
He sucks a fat
1.9.
one.
Yeah, 1.9 whip. That's in AAA. They had to bring him back to the show so he could have a chance.
That's bad. That's bad.
Oh goodness! So yes, it's gonna be some of the pod squad, I think. And by the way, if you get some Smiley in your life, get the pod squad in there, you're gonna have all the PIR till the end of the night.
So you're loving that Smiley life.
He's in the last game of the night, Laffy. So
that'll do it.
Nothing goes bad until 10:15 Eastern.
Right, of course. Everything looks good until it isn't.
Oh, I hate those nights. You'd rather have a bat left because there's always a chance of a home run, maybe two. The pitcher, there's never really a great game is never really going to get you there. Yep. So
for sure.
Oh, good times. Good times. All right, that is going to do it. Reminder, you do get the DFS strategy show at 9:30 on Friday. You will also get the Yahoo special show. That will be at 1 o'clock with Jake, Josh Engelman, and of course Alex Awesomeo Baker. And then you're going to get the deep dive article. It's behind the paywall. Laffy's taking care of that one on Friday. You'll get the deeper dive. You and Adam, 15 games, 14 games. So you guys going to go at 4:45, or will you go at 5 since you are so efficient at this point?
We are efficient. I think we'll probably do 4:45, but we'll find out tomorrow.
Okay, lots of pitching to talk about. Not as much offense. No Texas, no Coors Field on the slate. And then, of course, you get Live Before Lock taking you down the home stretch. So it should be a fun one. You can follow Laffy on Twitter over at Laffy_D. I am at EMACDFS, and it is Awesomeo_COM. With that, gamers, good luck.